Hi, everybody. How you doing? I'm Candid Frank. He's Aaron William Freeland, and we're here for Maple Leaf Talk, which means people keep thinking we're just talking about the Maple Leafs, and we're talking everything Maple Leafs. So any sport that involves a Canadian athlete, a Canadian team, or an American team that has Canadians on it. We are interested in how they're doing. So athletes across the country, North America, and the world, and how they do. And of course, we've got, I don't see anything in here today about auto racing. I don't see any auto racing news.
No, I didn't see anything of particular interest, and I'm pretty sure most of our viewers aren't necessarily interested in hearing about the internal squabbles. So,
Yeah, like the plywood that they stand on. Okay, that's a good enough introduction. Hey, folks, it's Friday. That means we're looking ahead to the weekend. But before this weekend, we had an opportunity to watch the Toronto Maple Leafs last night.
Yeah.
I'm going to start by saying this. I wonder what it felt like to be on the Leaf bench, on the Toronto Maple Leaf bench, full of professional hockey players that earn in the millions, and a couple of them, including one on the ice that earns 13 millions plus a quarter. I wonder how those players felt watching Matthews have difficulty make it to the other end of the ice. He looked like he was at the end of a bag skate.
He genuinely did. I tell you, it's one of those things where your top player didn't have a top game, and it kind of gets a little bit frustrating after a little while watching him sort of go through the motions when it comes to this sort of thing. I'm not sure if he's tired. I'm not sure if the back-to-back.
You're yawning just thinking about how tired he is.
I'm telling you, man. Nylander went down in the first period after celebrating after his goal. It looks like he might have tweaked an ankle when he caught his skate in the ice along the boards there. It's been ruled a non-contact injury, but we don't have a lot more information on that. Jack Eichel had all the time in the world to leak out the goalie during overtime there. Adin Hill was playing his first game since a lower body injury from October 20th. So Toronto kind of took advantage of that. Got 3 goals in the first 10 minutes to build a 3-1 lead, but he made a lot of key saves for him. And it's one of those things where I'm not sure exactly what they're doing here or what exactly the game plan was, but they couldn't outscore their problems in this particular game.
They definitely couldn't do that.
No. And it's the Golden Knights' 6th straight win. It's their 18th come from behind win so far this season. It's their 17th game that they've won in overtime. It's one of those things where this is a team that is fully taking advantage of the pity point to maintain their place in the standings. And it's just one of those situations where the Leafs could have salted it away, but they've now been passed by the Boston Bruins and the Buffalo Sabres for a wild card spot, and find themselves tied with Washington just on the outside looking in for the wild card.
Since the beginning of this year, I've talked to you about line changes and how I hold the coach responsible for that. Because as much as I'm disturbed by Matthews that he skated by the bench the way he did, he might as well have gone to the bench. He might as well have made a beeline for the bench and give at least the guy who had some energy the chance to skate up and catch up to the play. Because any kind of distraction for Eichel would have been nice. And poor Easton Cowan, he was doing his job. I got to watch my guy, got to watch my guy, got to watch my guy. But he might have learned a lesson last night and realized that as much as the coaches preach, do your own job, don't worry about the other guy, this might have been one of those times where the exception makes the rule. Whereas a youngster, his head should have been on a swivel. And I'm not criticizing him. I'm just saying for it to work better, instead of staring at the guy in the corner, which is what he was doing, his head should have been on a swivel and he should have seen there might have been a problem developing. Again, I'm not blaming him because it's drilled into them, especially on 3-on-3. You don't leave your man.
Yeah.
It's like a marionette thing here where they're tied to each other, right? But this is a learning, an opportunity for him to learn. I also have said for years that my problem with Matthews and Nylander, and Marner to a good degree too, is that they don't understand. They don't understand the importance of every shift. They seem to think I'm only reading minds here. I think they seem to think that they're so good they could outplay their mistakes. And one thing we've learned with this Leaf version is that they make really big mistakes after they are incapable of pulling the trigger on a great play. Last night was rinse and repeat. Their defenseman, who had a great shot earlier in the game, Riley, had an opportunity just before that goal was scored against them to hit a pretty big target. And he shot it over the net, which caused Matthews to lean against the glass and wonder what he was going to do next. And I'm just, this is what I've seen from the very beginning. This is something that is just rinse and repeat. Unfortunately, that's what it is. And I get upset. I get upset about this. I want to make this clear. My upsetness with these guys and the way they play isn't just about how much money they get paid. It's the frustration of the Leaf fans who have spent so long hungering for something that looks like success.
Yeah.
That's where my pain emanates from. It emanates from my my compassion for Leaf fans who are attacked on a regular basis. And my final comment about Matthews is, I wasn't happy on TSN the post game when they spoke to him in the post game, and they showed Marner shoot the puck towards Matthews, and Matthews threw a little look in that direction. And within 5 or 6 seconds, he said, "No, I never looked at him when he shot the puck at me."
It's one of those, there's 50 cameras here, Austin. We know what you did. We saw
that concludes the problem I have with Austin Matthews and have had with him for a very long time, is that he makes very bad mistakes that cost the team big games. In fact, his mistake in Canada we wouldn't have won the All-Star tournament, the nation's championship, if it wasn't for the fact that he left his check. So, I've joked and I've been serious about, I don't know if the Americans, I'm not sure they have the balls to take the C away from him, but there are a lot of other players who are a little more, like last night. I can't imagine being a Leaf player on the ice and watching your captain skate down the ice like that. That had to be demoralizing. And it was, and this is the word I'm going to use, it was embarrassing. Totally embarrassing.
It's funny, all the way through my hockey career, as special and short-lived as it was, coaches have always stressed the importance of making sure that you get fresh legs out there and keeping shifts short. And I understand the temptation to be the hero. I genuinely do. But as with everything, discretion is the far better part of valor. If you can't go 100% while you're out there, get off the ice. That is the long and the short of it. And
he's not a rookie.
For whatever reason.
And he's not a rookie anymore.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a decade. He should know better. At the end of the day, you're one of the highest paid players in the league. It behooves you to act not only like captain, but also, like the player that you are, get off the ice. Now, the fact that he lollygagged to the bench indicates that there could potentially be other issues that we're not necessarily seeing here. I know he's exhausted. I know
I
that they
don't
played
care,
3 games in 4
At
nights,
the
but at
rate
the
that
same time, there's no excuse for not getting off the ice to make one.
at the speed that he was moving, it would have been better to go to the bench.
Yep.
At the end of the day, he had no freaking business skating by the bench. What was he going to accomplish if and when he got to the other side of the rink? He wasn't going the other way any faster.
No.
No, it was pathetic. It is embarrassing. And if you're Leaf management, if you're the CEO of that organization, MLSC, the embarrassment, I can tell you, Aaron, that it's going to be, because there's going to be important people, influential people, customers that are going to go to them. Even Mr. Rogers is going to hear from somebody saying, "Are you serious? You're paying that guy that kind of money?" And the embarrassment factor, it really got hiked up. And we're going to hear about it. We're going to hear about the embarrassment that causes the organization. And it's too bad. It really is too bad. And I said, again, I qualify it. The coach, the responsibility of an organization is to put their players in a position to win. Well, obviously, this guy, Matthews, does not understand what it takes to win. It isn't going past your bench when you're tired. It's going to your bench. It goes to show that he's defaulting to, I'm staying on the ice. I'm staying on the ice. I'm staying on the ice. And that's,
if I stay on the ice and I float high enough, they'll get me the pass.
Right. And then
I have enough faith in our players.
And I'll find some energy to go to the net. Oh, man. Anyway, okay. So Nylander left. Apparently the IR is growing in Leafland.
Yeah, with Nylander out again, he is currently listed as day-to-day. So there's that. Dakota Mermis is still out. Chris Tanev is still out. Dakota Joshua is still out. Anthony Stolars is still out. He has been listed as he has been shown as practicing, but there's no timeline for his return yet. So it's one of those things. Wool got the start. Unfortunately for him, he ended up being a little bit porous, which is a bit of a problem because we need him to be better. Glad to see Robertson drew back into the lineup after looking like he'd been shot a couple nights ago. I do understand the boys are tired. It's 3 games in 4 nights, but at the same time, this is what you guys are paid to do. This is what the gym is for. Your conditioning should not be as bad as it is because you've been playing all season. This is one of those situations where the Leafs should know better, and yet they continue to demonstrate that they very much don't.
Do they really need to guess that they're tired?
I mean, I'd like to think as a player, I know when I can and can't go, and when I need to get the heck off the ice. But yeah, it's a mystery.
Anyway, enough of that. I think what we've got ourselves here is a situation, and it's been one in the and the reason, the only thing I'm going to say again is I want to remind people this: I sympathize for the fans. Because the fans are not getting a good deal. They're getting a raw deal. Let's go to a good deal. And the good deal is the Toronto Blue Jays. They are now the third or second highest paid team in the league, in Major League Baseball. Not the league, in Major League Baseball. And they lost out on a guy they really wanted really bad. And of all the teams to lose him to, Aaron, I'll let you pick it up from there.
Well, they've officially lost this player that they were looking to sign to the team that is single-handedly ruining baseball, and that would be the LA Dodgers. They signed Kyle Tucker to a 4-year, $240 million contract, which is effectively the most expensive deal in Major League Baseball history on a per-year basis. Especially when taking into account the deferrals to Shohei Ohtani's $70 million per deal. The Dodgers needed outfield help. Yeah, there's no arguments there. But teams with a record payroll aren't supposed to go out and grab the most expensive guy in the market on a deal even larger than expected in order to pump that sort of thing up. Now, a lot of people are predicting that there is going to be how do we put it, a lockout come 2027, just in time. Now, it's not all bad. His $60 million is offset by the fact that Michael Conforto, Kirby Yates, Chris Taylor, Clayton Kershaw, Kike Hernandez, Michael Kopish, Evan Phillips, Tony Gonsolin, and Austin Barnes, who all made a combined $77.2 million a year, are coming off the books. So technically speaking, they're actually $17.2 million ahead of where they would be had those guys stayed with the team. So there's that they have going in their favor.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
Oh, does this mean? Oh no.
Well, the good news coming out of all of this is that the Jays don't have to spend any additional money either. The money that they were thinking of giving to Tucker, they don't have to worry about giving to Bo Bichette either, because he signed a 3-year, $126 million contract with the New York Mets. So that's $42 million per. That's the deal, straight up, is 3 years, 42.
So I guess he didn't want to be a Blue Jay as much as he said.
Well, he has an opt-out clause after each of the first 2 seasons and can re-enter the free agent market at age 28 next winter, unencumbered by draft pick compensation. He was the last premier free agent available, and his agreement with the Mets comes just hours after Tucker signed that 4-year, $160 million deal. Now the Mets $240 million deal. Now the Mets have an infield alignment that looks like it's going to put Bichette at third base. They're going to have Francisco Lindor at shortstop. Marcus Semien is going to be at second, and a combination of Jorge Polanco and Mark Vientos are going to be playing at first. But yeah, I mean, basically it's a 3-year, 126 deal.
Third base is usually a power position. Bichette, I don't see Bichette as a power guy.
I mean, that's just where it seems he's most likely to slot in at this point. I'm pretty sure things could change. The length of the deal and the fact that it's got a couple opt-outs in means that it didn't really seem like he was determined to be here, like be in Toronto for that much longer anyways.
With the luck the Mets have had with signings and the seasons they've had, I can understand the opt-out was a two-way street.
Oh, 100%. And I'm pretty sure they're worried about picking up stuff from Toronto after their fun that they had with Marcus Stroman. So, there's a little bit of caution and trepidation.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's talk about another good subject for Canadian sports fans, especially those of us here in Toronto or in the immediate vicinity of Toronto, the Toronto Raptors. Now, they've had some bad games, but man, they've had mostly good games.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram had 30, including 2 key three-pointers late in the game. Scotty Barnes had 26 points and 13 assists. Grady Dick had 21 points and 11 rebounds off the bench. The Raptors ended up taking the game 115-101 on Wednesday night. They've now won all 3 meetings so far this season with the Pacers. Now, they never trailed. They hit 16 of 22 shots, including 4 of 5 from three-point range, to take a 39-18 lead after the first quarter. In that quarter, the Pacers made just 6 of 18 shots. So, when you're shooting as hot as the Raptors were and the Pacers are shooting as badly as they were, Ingram made 3 of his first 4 shots, as well as 2 free throws in the opening section. They finished 12 of 23 from the field. Barnes scored 10 in the opening quarter. Siakam led the Pacers with 26 points and 10 rebounds. The Raptors are going to be hosting the Clippers tonight, and the Pacers are going to be hosting New Orleans on Friday.
So tell me, Aaron, more news with the Raps.
Yeah, there's some issue with the cap. Now, yeah, it seems to be a thing with Toronto teams. Ochai Agbaji is an example of a top pick that the Raptors have that hasn't quite panned out. He began his career with the Cavaliers and has never fully found his footing. He won't command a lot in the trade, but the Raptors might be inclined to move him before the deadline in February. That's because moving Agbaji would escape the luxury tax portion of the salary cap. They're currently $967,000 above the luxury tax, and could get under it by offloading Agbaji's $4.1 million contract. So we'll see if they make that move as the trade deadline approaches and as things tighten up heading towards the postseason.
Absolutely. Let's talk tennis. Mboko in the news.
Yeah, following up her success last year with a little bit of fun this year, she's advanced to the Adelaide International Women's Tennis Final. She defeated Kimberly Burrell 6-2, 6-1 in the semifinals yesterday to advance. She had 8 aces and 3 double faults in this tune-up tournament in advance of the Australian Open, which technically marks the first marquee event of the tennis season. Burrell was held without an ace and a break point in the match. Mboko in the 8th seed will face 3rd-seeded Russian Mira Andreeva on Friday night. So we'll have more on that on Monday once the scores are settled.
Fantastic. Alassim also has some news to share with us.
He's actually acting as a bit of a mentor for Mboko. He's offered her some advice. He was ranked. Mboko was ranked 333rd. By the end of it, she won the National Bank Open at home. Was in the top 20 of the WTA rankings. I think it's important that Felix foster this relationship with her to sort of talk her through it, because he's been through that sort of thing before too. And it's one of those things where he can offer valuable insights for her and keep her on an even keel.
Absolutely. Marina Stakusik.
Tongue twisters, man.
Marina, tell me about Marina.
Well, Marina Stakusik and Liam Draxel have earned their spots in the main draw at the Australian Open. Stakusik advanced with a 7-5, 6-4 win over Lin Shou of China in the final round of qualifying yesterday. She had 2 aces and 21 minutes across the 1 hour and 45-minute long match and overcame 32 unforced errors for the victory. She bounced Nuria Parisas Diaz of Spain 6-3, 6-2 in the first round. Then it got a 2-set victory over Teodora Kostovic of Serbia before facing Zhu. On the men's side, Liam Draxel came from behind to beat American Mackenzie McDonald 3-6, 7-6, 6-2 in his final match in the qualifying round. He's been struggling with serve early and had 3 double faults in his first set before rallying in the second and getting 4 aces in the third. So on the way there, Draxel beat Vitaly Sachko of Ukraine in 3 sets to advance to the final round. He now joins Gabriel Diallo, Felix Auger-Aliassime, and Denis Shapovalov on the men's singles draw.
And in the Canadian Football League, the Toronto Argonauts signed Darius the Party Starter Pickett. We had a chance to talk to him today, in fact.
Oh, excellent. I know that he was scheduled to become a free agent in February, but he was released by Ottawa on Tuesday. He was ranked 18th in the CFL's top 30 pending free agents list. It'll be interesting to see him back in Toronto. Was there anything that you got from the interview that might give us any indications as to where he's going and what his impressions are for the coming season?
Well, he's happy to come back to Toronto. He told us he was happy to come back to Toronto. He had good memories from 23. He's looking forward to joining some of the players that were here. And the reason he's here is that the story is that he was waiting for negotiations to start in Ottawa, and they never started. They moved really slow, and he said, well, you know what? We got to do something here. He called his agent, and his agent said, okay. So they decided to come to Toronto. So he didn't feel he definitely gave us the impression he didn't feel wanted in Ottawa.
Well, I'm glad that he's found a home. I know that he was a valuable part of the team when he played here, so I'm glad to have him back. That means I might actually be able to get his old jersey in a mothballs.
There you go. OJ, you had his in particular?
I think I've got one of his floating around here somewhere. So.
Oh, okay. And what about the American running back they just signed, Jerron Mitchell?
Yeah, Mitchell's 6 foot, 205, had 2 stints with Toronto last season after originally being signed by the club back in January of 2025. So he's back a little more, hopefully, full-time this time around. The team also announced at the same time that they announced they were bringing him back, the release of defensive lineman Joe Wallace. So 1-for-1 swap.
And what about the Bombers and Gavin Cobb?
Well, they've agreed to a 1-year extension with him. He's returning to the Blue Bombers for his second season with the team and fourth in the CFL after spending the first 2 years of his career with the Edmonton Elk. He appeared in 4 regular season games with the Bombers in 25, plus the Eastern semifinals. He finished the year with 6 catches for 51 yards, including 4 receptions for 44 in a win over the Roughies in October last year. He also had 2 catches for 29 yards in the playoff loss to the Montreal Alouettes.
Good for them. Let's talk about the Stampeders and receiver Tevin Jones.
Yep. So they've extended Tevin. He was eligible to become a free agent on February 10th. Jones played 17 games and had 47 receptions for 618 yards and 4 TDs last year. He also had 1 carry for 8 and 5 special teams tackles. So, in 64 career games for the Saskatchewan, Edmonton, and Calgary, he had 172 receptions for 2,496 yards and 15 TDs.
Absolutely. The Stampeders also extended offensive lineman Thomas Jack Kurdiala.
Yep, and now this is a Montreal native. I'm surprised that they didn't try to do more to pick him up. But he had originally signed with the Stamps in May and had appeared in 9 games during the 25 season. He was usually used as an extra offensive lineman in running situations and saw extensive action at guard as an injury replacement in Week 14 and Week 19 for the Stamps last year.
Tamarian Wilson was signed by the Ticats.
Yeah, he spent his collegiate career at the University of Central Arkansas from 2020 to 23. He's 6'2", 220, native of Bryant, Arkansas. Had 265 tackles, 15.5 for loss, 2 sacks, 6 ints, and 15 pass breakups with the Bears. He also attended the Buffalo Bills rookie camp last year after going undrafted in the 2025 NFL draft.
Eugene Lewis is staying in Ottawa.
Yeah, they've extended him all the way through the 2027 season. He was supposed to become a free agent February 10th, but Dinwiddie decided that he was excited for the opportunity to get to work with him, and they're thrilled to have him back through the 2027 season.
Well, the USA and the world of soccer are having some interesting relationship issues.
Well, they're having a bunch of visa bans that have been published recently by the U.S. government. But they finally decided to issue some clarifications when it comes to that. In a cable sent to all U.S. embassies and consulates on Wednesday evening, the State Department says athletes, coaches, and support staff for the World Cup, the Olympics, and events endorsed or run by a long list of college and professional sports leagues and associations would not be subject to the full and partial travel bans that apply to citizens of 39 countries and the Palestinian Authority. But foreign spectators, media, and corporate sponsors planning to attend the same events would still be banned unless they qualify for another exemption. So they're happy to have the athletes here. They're, for some reason, not happy to get the foreigners' money, which is weird.
Yeah, okay. Hey, listen, it is what it is. Let's talk about the PWHL and the Toronto Scepters.
Yeah, they've been having some issues this season. In particular, they've been going through a lot of injuries. They've only managed to play 4 out of their first 11 games so far this season with their full defensive core because members have been shuffling in and out of the lineup. For example, they added Ella Shelton to the team as a top minutes leader. She was a left shot offensive defender. They already had Savannah Harmon. And a bona fide second pairing of Ali Monroe and Kelly Flanagan to give them a strong, reliable minutes. But Monroe was hurt on December 23rd against the Charge. Brenna Fox was already out of the lineup with an injury, and they had to try to survive an Ottawa comeback, but ultimately fell in overtime. The problem here is that they're a little too thin on the back end. They're missing players on the right side, which seems to be a common thing among Toronto teams. As far as right defenseman goes, or right shot defenseman at any rate. But yeah, they're currently in 6th place with 4 losses going into the battle on Bay Street this weekend.
let's talk about the IHF and the under-18 women's tournament that's going on. Canada's playing the quarterfinals against Finland.
Yeah, they were up 5-0 at the end of the first period and ended up blanking Finland 12-0 in the quarterfinals to advance to the semifinals on Saturday. They're playing actually out in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Adriana Milani led the way with 4 goals, which puts her second overall in the tournament scoring, with 8 goals total, and third in total points with 11. A rather unfortunately one-sided contest, but at the end of the day,
not unfortunate. Canada's won by 12.
Well, yeah, but it's a bit crushing for incoming teams.
Let's be selfish for a moment, Aaron. After what happened to us in the junior tournament, it's good to see the ladies. It's good to see the ladies are.
They outshot Finland 67-10, Frank. It was a bit of a butt kicking. 67-10, they outshot them.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. Let's go to the other Canadian teams. We'll start with the Habs, who lost to the Sabres, and that Tage Thompson is an amazing player.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. I think Buffalo finally found something that worked for them. At 26-16-4, Buffalo's win total in 56 points are the most through 47 games since the team went 30-11-6 over the same time period, all the way back in 2009-2010. Tage Thompson had a hat trick, including the 200th goal of his career, and added 2 assists. He factored in all of Buffalo's points. Josh Doan had a goal and an assist, and Alex Tuck also scored. The Sabres are now 15-2 in their past 17 games. In the pipes, Colton Ellis stopped 20 shots. Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki had a goal and an assist each, and Ivan Demidov also scored. Rookie Jacob Fowler finished with 22 saves. This is on the heels of a 3-2 overtime loss at Washington on Tuesday. And the Canadians had actually gone 8-2-4 since last dropping consecutive outings. Fowler has been sent back to the Laval Rocket. So we'll have a little more information on that, and we'll see how the Rocket are doing in the AHL. Most likely on Monday, I'll have a little bit more of an update on that.
The Sens Tkachuk scores his 200th, and the Rangers get trounced a little bit by the Sens.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Rangers are ready to wave the white flag yet. They are currently 20-22.
It's definitely off white.
6. They got 46 points. They are now dead last in the Eastern Conference, behind even Columbus and Ottawa, who have 49 points each. It wasn't that long ago that Ottawa was actually up in a playoff spot, but it's crazy how these things change. Brady actually got his 200th regular season NHL goal and also had 3 assists. They doubled up the Rangers, who have now lost 5 games in a row. The Rangers fans booed their home team off the ice at the first intermission, and it didn't get much better until long after the outcome had already been determined. That's 17 losses in 22 games at MSG. That's got to be tough. Quick allowed 6 goals on 17 shots before getting the mercy pull, and getting relieved by Spencer Martin a little past the midway point of the second period. Now, I got to be honest, I don't think it's all on Jonathan Quick.
You think?
The defense was absolutely porous. Like we're talking cheesecloth here, just bad. Levi Marilainen, on the flip side, was making his 9th consecutive start in Linus Ullmark's absence, had 18 saves and allowed 2 goals to Gabe Perreault and 1 to Noah Leba and another to Alex Lafreniere. So,
well, it is what it is. If you're a Rangers fan, it's the big city teams. Montreal's finally picking things up. Chicago's in the doldrums. LA is iffy. So it's an interesting time as far as the big cities in hockey. That the failures are mounting. Let's talk about Scheifele and the Jets, and he has a good game.
Yeah, had a goal and 3 assists. Jonathan Toews scored for the 4th consecutive game, and Winnipeg beat the Wild 6-2 last night. Toews also had an assist. Gabe Velarde and Josh Morrissey each had a goal and an assist, and Tanner Pearson and Logan Stanley also scored as Winnipeg tied its season high for goals in a game. Connor Hellebuck made 32 saves. They won their 4th game in a row after an 11-game losing streak where they went 0-7-4. Ow. Winnipeg is now 9-1-1 in its past 11 games against the Wild, including 6 straight wins in Minnesota. Danila Yurov and Marcus Johansson scored for the Wild, who are at 1-3-2 in their last 6. Jesper Wallstedt made 14 saves in 2 periods. Philip Gustafsson had 8 in the 3rd. Now, Minnesota had the game's first 10 shots on goal. So the Jets did not start well. But Pearson put home his own rebound with 11 seconds left in the opening period. A one-timer from Morrissey made it 3-0 8 seconds later. That was 3 seconds left in the period. That's the fastest 2 goals scored since the franchise relocated to Winnipeg. Ron Hainsey and Chris Thorburn scored 7 seconds apart for the Atlanta Thrashers back in 2008. Up next, the Jets are going to be hosting the Leafs on Saturday. That's going to be the tail end of the Leafs road trip. And the Wild are beginning a 3-game trip Saturday by playing in Buffalo.
The Flames, Backlund and Sharangovich had good games.
Yeah, they needed this road win badly. Backlund and Sharangovich had a goal and an assist. Devin Cooley made 22 saves, and Matt Coronado had an empty netter. This is only the 2nd time in 7 games that the Flames have managed to put one in the W column. They also completed a 2-3 road trip, improving to 8-16-2 on the road this season. Nick Foligno scored early, and Spencer Knight stopped 20 shots for the Blackhawks. However, they've been outscored 7-2 while dropping the first 2 games of a 4-game homestand. They've lost 3 of 4 following a 4-game win streak. So, a lot of teams are playing for 500 hockey, but it's the wrong kind of 500 hockey in that it's streaky and it's not consistent. It is what it is. I mean, Chicago currently sits 6 points out of a wild card spot. San Jose has a game in hand. Utah is in there with 52 points. On the other side, the Flames are even further back than the Blackhawks. They're at 44 instead of 45 points. So it's a long way to go for either team to make the playoffs at this point.
Sorokin and the Islanders shut out the Oilers, McDavid and company. McDavid had a streak going. It ended. That's a pretty good feat to blank the Oilers.
Oh, most definitely. The Oilers at 23-17-8 have actually lost 3 of their last 4 games. Connor Ingram had 17 saves in net for Edmonton. Ilya Sorokin did what a lot of teams do to the Leafs in that he goalied the Oilers with a 35-save shutout. Anthony Duclair scored for the Islanders, who are now 26-16-5, and they've won 4 of their last 6 games. So, Matt Barzal picked up an assist to hit 500 points for his career in his 576th game. McDavid's point streak ended at a career best 20 games, during which he had 19 goals and 27 assists. He joins Wayne Gretzky and Paul Coffey as the only 3 players in Oilers franchise history put together a point streak of at least 20 games. And it wasn't until the 6:18 mark in the 3rd period when Duclair scored his 9th of the season to break the tie.
Well, the Canucks, for the 9th time in a row, lost a hockey game. Another seller in the making.
Yeah, they wrapped up their 6-game road trip yesterday with a loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Brock Besser scored on the power play, which broke a 21-game goalless drought. Lankinen stopped 32 of the 36 shots he faced in the loss. Now, Vancouver has only had 2 other 9-game winless streaks since the turn of the century. The other 2 came in 2015-16 and 16-17. The last time Vancouver went winless in 10 straight was during the 97-98 season, which led to the Canucks finishing 24th out of 26 teams.
Very good.
Been
Excellent
rough
stuff. Well, in conclusion, Aaron, what would you like to add in conclusion? Go Leafs, go.
Well, I mean, I would say go Leafs go. I also hope for the upcoming F1 season that Lewis Hamilton gets a better lead engineer. His time with Ferrari so far has not been fun, but we are hoping that, well, at least I'm hoping that he'll have a bit of a better showing.
I think he will. Aaron, enjoy your weekend, buddy. Always appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, we'll see you on Monday, Frank.
He's Aaron William Freeland. I'm Candid Frank Stanishi, and this has been Maple Leaf Talk, talking about sports that relate to the red and white. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time, I guess. Yeah, we